Wake up, Jacob, Israelite prepper. Just want to go over, at least start a dialogue, start a little bit of a conversation based on some information I learned over the weekend from the Biblical Marriage Conference with Dr. Gina Murray and Elder Murray. And first and foremost, I want to thank them for the information that they, put out there. They didn't have to espouse so much wisdom, you know, in that event, but they did. And one thing that it did, it stimulate thought. So I'm just going to share a few notes, few thoughts, few things that was brought up in there, and I want to start a dialogue, get you guys to uh, you know really start thinking about it. So let's talk about it. Now, one of the things that was brought up, one of the thoughts, one of the ideas that was brought up was heirs, and building your name and things like that, because the idea is to build a legacy, heirs, sons. And we talked about some of the differences between, a son and an heir. Many of us, we have sons, but do we have an heir? Do we have heirs? We have sons, but do we have an heir? See, this is a way that we are immortal, that we live on. Now, we all know that obviously the Messiah comes to give eternal life. We can inherit immortality as well as the kingdom. Now, we know that. We have that understanding. But I'm just saying, in this flesh, our name lives on through our sons. But our legacy lives on through our heirs. And you might be wondering, well, what does that mean? What are you talking about, Israelite prepper? Okay, many of us, we have kids. And if you have sons, he can take your last name. He can take your last name and then your name lives on and we think that's it. But let's look at it from another level. Another level. If you have an heir, he's going to continue your legacy. It's not just, oh, well, he's just going to bear your last name. He's going to pick up the mantle and start and continue your legacy. That's the difference. That's the difference between a son and an heir. An heir continues your legacy. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do I have sons or do I have heirs? And it's not just about, obviously, an heir is someone, when you inherit something, you possess, you pass something down, they possess it and stuff like that. But we're talking about deeper than that. Look at it like this here. We look at our Gentile counterparts, and you have the Trumps and the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and the Rothschilds and you can go on and on and on. And guess what? Their name lives on, and so does their legacy. Now you just juxtapose that with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Garvey. I brought those names up before. And who continued in their legacy? Who did that? So how we live on, how our legacy lives on, is through heirs. Not just simply sons. And it's a huge difference that we need to talk about. And then the Bible even speaks of things like that, building up your house this way and having, your name live on and continue on. Having a legacy, and it just continues on. The Bible speaks to those type of things. In fact, I'll show you here. Because it was like a bad deal if your name got, quote unquote, blotted out. It was kind of a big deal there, right? But like this, if you go to, let's see, Deuteronomy 25:6. Let me go over there real quick. Deuteronomy 25. And I'm going to start at 5 just to see what's going on here. All right, so it says, if brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, The wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. Now, you may want to you have an idea as to why that is. So his name is not blotted out, but we're going to keep looking. We're going to look at it a little bit more. I just want to look at it a little bit more here. So this is why. Okay, this is why, and it's over here. I was just there for a second. Let's see here. This is where the lady was pretty upset. Let's see here. Or maybe it's continuation of this one. Okay, so let's see what it goes up to 10. Okay, so there it is. All right, so we have the same place. Now we're going to keep reading it. So from 5, and we'll just keep reading Deuteronomy 25. So we're just going to keep reading, okay? The duty of a husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she bears shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. That his name be not put out. Now, how his name keeps going because of his son. His name keeps going because of his son. And it's really important. That's why the woman gets upset. Think about it. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Kind of a big deal, right? Call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, I don't want to marry her, then his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoes from off his feet, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto the man that will not build up his brother's house. Build up his brother's house, and his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that had his shoes loose. Basically, he refused. So he's allowing his brother's legacy die. He's allowing, and I think sometimes we miss that whole thing. He's allowing his brother's legacy die, but I'm just talking about just a man in general. His whole legacy dies if his son is, if he has no sons, if he has no heir, his whole legacy die. Everything that he built goes to naught. So how we build our house, how we build our legacy, our name, how we build our house is through our heirs. Because being cut off and have your name cut off from among Israel was a bad thing. It was not seen as a good thing. I can show you in another example over in 2 Samuel, another example, and I'll cut it short. But if you look at 2 Samuel in chapter 14, we'll read a couple of those in verse 7. Okay, a little treachery was going on here, and I'm gonna start in 1 though. It says, now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was towards Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman, and said to her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner. So pretend that you are in mourning, that you lost your husband, and put on now, or lost someone, and put on now mourning apparel, because they used to go like in sackcloth and ashes and things like that. And anoint not thyself with oil, but be a woman that has a long time mourned for the dead. So she been in mourning, right? And come to the king and speak unto this manner unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. So he told her what to say. And when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance and said, help, O king. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and my husband is dead. So her husband, my husband is dead. And thy handmaid had 2 sons, and they strove together in the field, and they was none to part him. Like they fought together, and nobody broke them up. But the one smote the other and slew him. So one killed the other. And it says, and behold, the whole family is risen against thy handmaid, and everybody's coming after me. And they said, deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him for the life of his brother whom he slew. Okay, he killed his brother, so we're going to kill him. And we will destroy their heir also. Listen. And so they shall quench my cold wit, which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. So nobody, so his name is cut off. If both his sons are gone, it's over. It's like he never was. So if you have no heir to pass on your legacy, did you ever really exist? Will you ever really hear if you have no heir? Did you ever really exist? And I just want to give, food for thought, obviously there's other passages that deal with similar things, but I mean, even when we look at Psalm 83, and thank Yah that Israel wasn't destroyed, but it was them trying to cut off, let's go there. Psalm 83. Let's go to Psalm 83. Go to Psalm 83. Okay. So in Psalm 83, it said, Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And we know there's certain nations that have been plucked up in history, and it's like they never existed. There are no descendants. There's nobody around. It's like they were never here. We know there's times, shalom, shalom, house of Lee. We know there's times in the Bible that he's talking about blotting out someone's name out of the book of life. That's a little bit different, but I'm just saying, if your descendants, your heirs are cut off, they're dead, it's like blotting you out in your legacy. It's like blotting you out, like you never exist. Shalom, shalom. So that's something that you really want to consider, because the Bible speaks to it all the time. I mean, I can give you, a few other verses that kind of touch on it a little bit, but this is something that we really want to at least think about. That we want to at least think about. If we go to Psalm 109, I'll give you one more. It's just so many. It's so many. Go to Psalm 109. 109. Okay. And I think I'm looking for verse around 13, but I'm just going to back up just a little bit. Let me start about 10. Let his children be continual. Okay, this is in Psalm 109, right? And I'm just working my way down a little bit because I want to get to 13. But let's see. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife. Verse 9. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. So let him die. Let his children be continually vagabonds in bed. Let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. Okay, so he's trying to put a curse on them. Okay. Let the extortioner catch all that he has, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him. Neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off. Let his posterity, his children, let his posterity be cut off. And in the generation following, let their name be blotted out. He wants this guy to be gone. Gone. Let his posterity and let the generations after that be blotted out, like he never existed. Plucked up. It's like being if you're plucked up by the root, you're gone. So it's just something for us to think about. You may have sons, but do you have heirs? Will your legacy live on? Will your legacy live on? Are you building up your house, your name, your legacy, your heirs? What are we doing? Something to think about. Give me your thoughts. You got my thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Israelite Prepper. Wake up, Jacob.